and let us all do we can to build a better future.
All right, Dr. Cornel West is once again being vilified by corporate media. This should come as no surprise to all of you. And Simone Sanders of BSDNC, I mean MSNBC, seems to be leading the charge, as is everybody else from CNN and everyone else in corporate media. Now, Fox News, of course, is actually doing something far different, which is kind of surprising. Fox News is still the same as any other corporate media outlet, but they're the only outlet that seems to be acknowledging, I guess, the power of what third-party candidates can do. But yet CNN and MSNBC are once again using their old talking points from 2016 and 2020, talking about the dangers of third parties. So what you are going to be bombarded with is corporate media saying that third parties are a spoiler. And Simone Sanders is going to be shocked when Charlie Dent says, I actually think third party is healthy for democracy. Hey, before we play the videos, let's have democracy in the chat. It's a controversial statement. What is democracy? Type 1 if you think, no, Kit, the two-party system is just fine. Just fall in line. Vote for Team Red or Team Blue. Do as you're told. Type 2, no, I want other options. Break away from this system. So let's play this video. And again, huge shout to Case Study QB. If you're not following this man on Twitter or on X, I guess, please do so. He's doing phenomenal work.
There's an active Republican presidential primary, but there's lots of talk about third party. And Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski of Alaska said that she would vote for Democratic Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia if he ran for president as an independent. She called the choice between President Biden and Donald Trump the, quote, lesser of two evils. Congressman, I think that we've all been a part of these elections and seen presidentials, but in this case, the language here matters. And this is not a scenario where Donald Trump and Joe Biden are on the same footing when we're talking about the kind of people that they are. I think this is language that the lesser of two evils is language that has regularly shown up in presidential elections.
Yes, let's talk about lesser of two evils. There's no such thing as lesser evil. Evil is still evil, okay? Anyone that uses this mentality that, oh, Biden's better than Trump, he's the lesser of the two evils. Okay. Really? Well, I know what to expect from Donald Trump. I know where he stands on the social issues, but before you start praising Biden as being the lesser of the two evils, remember that Biden is the architect of the crime bill. Biden was against busing and desegregation. Biden was against a woman's right to choose. And under his administration, he has still carried on a lot of Donald Trump's foreign and domestic policies. So, who is the lesser of the two evils again? This whole mentality is, okay, well, this person has a gun, but that other person has a knife. So, vote for the person that has a knife. They're both trying to kill me. Or how about this? Here's a crap sandwich, and here's lettuce with crap in it. You got to eat one of them. No, I don't. I don't have to vote for the lesser of two evils because I will not participate and continue on with a neoliberal system that does not have my best interests at heart. So, again, I urge everyone for this election cycle to think for yourself. Now, if you do want to vote Democrat, pardon me, or Republican, fine, that's on you. But you're voting for one of those two parties that, again, are owned by Wall Street executives and big banks. You, the average voter, do not have a seat at the table.
And frankly, maybe people were using the term back in the day when it really didn't apply. But there's not a lesser of two. I mean, there is a lesser of two evils here. And I would argue Donald Trump is not in the running. OK, well, just your thoughts about it.
Of course, corporate media has to weigh in its 2 cents. Hey, Simone, I know that everyone in the liberal media likes to say, oh, people do change. But why don't you go back in time and ask Joe Biden during the height of the civil rights movement where he really stood on busing and desegregation? His answers would surprise you.
This language and then the third-party bids.
Well, yeah, I'm very familiar with what No Labels is doing. They are simply trying to provide ballot access for a potential independent candidacy, a fusion ticket, Republican, Democrat, Democrat, Republican. That's what they're after. They want to have...
Again, thank you for saying that. This whole idea of No Labels being this great maverick organization. No, it's not. It's made up of Democrats and Republicans, centrists, okay? So anyone who thinks that Joe Manchin or Kristen Sinema are these maverick politicians, they're not. They're corporatists, okay? And listen, conservative voters, Republicans, libertarians, if you think Sinema is your friend, she stabbed the activist community in the back. She stabbed the Green Party people in their backs. She stabbed progressive Democrats in the back. She even stabbed the vote blue, no matter who Democrats in the back, okay? If you're not paying attention to the bodies surrounding Sinema, you're going to be in for a rude awakening. She does not like you. She is for the corporations. Simple as that.
Have some additional choices and competition. That's what this is about. And I actually think this is healthy for a democracy.
Really?
I think when we see both candidates, both Donald Trump and Joe Biden, have large segments of the American population who don't want them to run, they're looking for something different. You know, I never voted for Donald Trump, and I voted for Joe Biden over Donald Trump. But personally, I would, like Murkowski, I would like to see another alternative out there that's perhaps a bit more centered politically. And I know a lot of people are out there saying how this is going to affect the election. Nobody really knows how it would affect the election.
Do you think it would affect the election?
It could, but I don't know how it will. It's far too.
Here's how it would affect the election, because this is how I see potentially this election playing out. And this is just a scenario, and it really depends on voter turnout and how successful the Green Party will be and the Libertarian Party will be in regards to getting ballot access. Now, again, reports are showing that at least 47 to 50% of Americans are identifying themselves as independents. If enough independents do vote for Dr. Cornel West and whoever the Libertarian Party nominee will be, if the Libertarians and Greens are able to get above 5%, let's say ideally in the general election on election night, 10% or higher, both parties will be will be recognized as legitimate parties in the United States. And for the first time in a long time, instead of two parties, there will be four other parties that will be now available for voters to vote for. And dare I say it, the Green Party and Libertarian Party will finally climb over all the roadblocks that have held them back. That will change the game. That's a pretty big deal if that does happen.
Early to tell until there are candidates named and we get further down and how the media narrative plays out. I don't think we're really going to know. So I think all this speculation right now about who's going to be harmed or helped is premature.
All right, we'll have to leave it there.
Yep. Yeah, obviously the producer was yelling in her ear, telling him to be quiet. You can't talk about third parties. Now, of course, they're going to continue on talking about third parties and how at one point helped out Bill Clinton, of course. Let's play this video. Again, another video from BSDNC.
On that point, Congressman, Republican voters not taking a chance on that person. But a new poll shows that a third-party candidate could draw as much as a third of the vote in 2024. A third-party candidate very well might hurt the chances of the Biden-Harris ticket getting reelected. How?
Show of hands. Who cares? Type 3, I do care because I want Joe Biden to win. Type 4, no, I don't care about Joe Biden. You know what? I'll participate too. I'll type 4 in the chat. I'll type 4 in the chat because I don't care. I'm voting third party. I have made I made my opinion very clear on how I'm going to participate during this election cycle.
How much does this possibility worry you?
Well, I'm concerned about that. But I've looked at the history of this, Jonathan. You know me very well, and you know that I'm not going to just take things on face value. I look at it. People have to remember that Bill Clinton became president of the United States with only 42%. Ross Perot was the third-party candidate. He got a big number, and it helped Bill Clinton. I don't think Bill Clinton would have got elected were it not for a third party. So I'm not getting all exercise over whether or not there is a third-party candidate. I don't think there should be. I'm against what there's no labels. People are.
Again, for the love of God, No Labels is a centrist organization. Don't fall for the trap if you think that they are a legitimate third party. They're not, all right? If you want to vote third party, Green or Libertarian is your choice. No Labels is made up of Democrats and Republicans. They're centrist, and you got to believe me when I say this. They are corporatists through and through. Do not trust them.
Doing. I think some of them are just playing games. They're not being transparent to American people. We don't know where their money is coming from, and they won't tell us where the money is coming from. The same kind of thing happened in 2016. And now we see where some of that money was coming from and some of that aid was coming from. I just don't think we ought to give credibility to anybody running for president, and they won't be transparent about where the finances are coming from.
And on that note,
and again, they're going to be going after the Greens and Libertarians for that. But also now, let's go to CNN. That's right, the great sinking ship that's called CNN. CNN's sinking faster than the Titanic and imploding faster than a Titan sub. I know I shouldn't be making those jokes. But CNN is telling you Democrats are concerned over Dr. Cornel West's Green Party run. I don't know why alarm bells aren't going off now, and they should be at a steady drumbeat from now until the election. David Axelrod, because David Axelrod is scared. He's being a little baby. He's scared. He's frightened. He's concerned. Let's play this video.
President Biden is prepared to take on a Republican on the ballot next fall, but is he ready for a challenge from the left? Cornel West, a semi-celebrity among progressives, is running on the Green Party ticket next November. That's the same party that Democrats blame for spoiling the 2016 election.
That is fake news. Dr. Jill Stein and neither did Gary Johnson of the Libertarian Party. They did not spoil the election, okay? And by the way, let's say Gary Johnson running the Libertarian Party in 2016 or Dr. Jill Stein for the Green Party in 2016. Let's say they weren't on the ballot. What makes Democrats and liberals think that Libertarians and Greens would have fallen in line and voted for Hillary? What if all those people just stayed home? And again, popular vote means nothing in this country. The Electoral College supersedes everything. Let's face it. Democrats, liberals, you still have PTSD from 2016. Get over it. Hill Dog ran a terrible campaign, and she lost. She lost bigly, okay? That's what happened. Trump won. And here's the thing about it, just how much they keep on holding on to 2016. Liberals, you quote-unquote won in 2020, right? Yes or no, right? Because that's a pretty big deal. You guys were dancing in the streets after the 2020 election, right? But I guess Democrats realize that old man Joe may not have enough steam in his engine.
And CNN's Isaac Javert and Eva McKend are here with new reporting on growing concerns among some Democrats who see a progressive Green Party bid sneaking up on President Biden. And they're here to discuss now. First of all, this quote from David Axelrod, who's our colleague who helped get Barack Obama elected. This is going to sneak up on people. And he said, I don't know why alarm bells aren't going off now. They should be at a steady drumbeat from now until the election. I'm sure they were thrilled to see that in the White House.
As they often are when David Axelrod makes a comment like that. But look, with the mixed metaphor that he used there, though, is getting at where a lot of Democrats are thinking about this. And within the Biden campaign itself, there's not concern so far about this, but the Green Party has a ballot line in a number of states already. I think it's 16 states already. In 2016,
21.
They were in 44 states. So when you think about the attention that's been going to this,
also they were in 47 states.
No labels possibility, and how that could spoil the election, they are still getting on the ballot, whereas the Green Party is much easier to get there and would be there with a candidate who is well known among progressives, has celebrity and connection to a lot of Black voters, and that is what is generating this concern.
Such
as it should. As it should. And I embrace the fact that the Green Party is gaining this momentum. I embrace the fact that people, liberals are panicking. And I embrace the fact that progressives, independents, are flocking to a party that will, more or less fight for the issues and be consistent with the issues and run an aggressive campaign so that finally voters have another option other than Democrat or Republican. And I hope the same thing for the Libertarian Party, too. I want to see both parties succeed, and I want to see the Democratic Party and Republican Party crap their pants. Both parties are owned by Wall Street. Both parties are owned by banks. Both parties are owned by lobby groups. So as far as I'm concerned, now's the time to break away from the two-party system, and I'm more than happy to contribute my vote to a third-party candidate. Why? Because the Democratic Party made it abundantly clear, not only during the 2016 primary, but the 2020 primary, that my vote doesn't matter. I don't believe in the Republican Party because the Republican Party, again, is supported by the same people who give money to the Democratic Party. George Carlin was right. It's one big club, and you ain't in it.
An important point. And you have a quote in your story from the Michigan Democratic Party chair saying, I don't think Cornel West or the Green Party is something we need to worry about, but it's absolutely something we need to keep an eye on. But I'm sure that that party chair knows the history of that state and also Pennsylvania and Wisconsin. Back in 2016, you just have to look at what happened. The Green Party, look at Jill Stein was on the Green Party ballot.
These are beautiful numbers. I love it. I'm glad that Dr. Jill Stein was able to secure all those votes. I'm glad that she was able to do that. Why? Because for so long, the Democrats were holding on to progressives and saying, you have to vote for us. You have to vote for us. But I remember the 2016 convention in Philadelphia. I remember what happened to Green Party supporters and Bernie Sanders supporters and delegates. I saw that with my own two eyes. To anyone that tells you that the DNC convention of 2016 was nothing but peace and love and everyone happy for Hill Dog, no, it was extremely violent and brutal. Bernie Sanders people were assaulted, harassed, spit on, attacked, abused. Same thing happened to Green Party people. Folks, I look at these numbers and I say very good. And I hope that not only that, Dr. Cornel West will be able to double or triple those numbers. And I'm saying this just to trigger the vote blue no matter who, people.
Then look at the votes she got and look at Donald Trump's margin.
Now, Democrats can't afford to cede any of their coalition. So,
by the way, I want to acknowledge Chicago Great One, who says, isn't it funny how Democrats never react with how do we get all those green voters to vote blue? It's always, how do we keep them from voting anything but blue or red? Mandatory thumbs up for Chicago Great One in the chat. That is a very good statement.
So I think that some are recognizing that they would be remiss to ignore the threat of Cornel West. Something that
and in response to that, Wendy Carballo, good friend of the show, says, Chicago Great One, I'm sorry, common sense apparently has no place in politics. You're not wrong, Wendy.
struck me about our conversation with him is the attacks are so pointed. And I asked him, did you vote for President Biden in 2020? Why are you so disappointed by him? And then when you kick the tires a bit, even though he was part of this anti-fascist coalition of Bernie Sanders supporters that spoke well of Biden, he got in the voting booth and didn't actually vote for Joe Biden. And the way that he described that evolution on that issue, I think was in an authentic way that other progressives will be able to connect with that message. So I think that should be of concern to Democrats.
Yeah, like the argument that Jill Stein makes for what happened in 2016 and West echoes, and should be said, Stein is working as on West's campaign now.
Right.
And I'm happy that she's doing that, as she should.
Is that those voters wouldn't have turned out at all. They weren't Hillary Clinton voters who left.
Yeah.
That is not something that is going to put people in a very comfortable place going into what many of us expect to be a tight election.
Such important reporting. You can read the full story on CNN.com. Thanks for sharing it with us.
Yeah, of course. Of course, CNN and MSNBC are going to be telling people, you got to vote blue no matter who. So in a surprise twist, we're going to hear some common sense from one media network. Okay, just take it with a grain of salt, though. Fox News, of all places. Shout out again to Case Study QB. You know what? I'm not going to respect Twitter's new pronouns. Be sure to follow Case Study QB on Twitter.
Talk about Democrats, because there is panic in the Democrat Party that there could be a third-party candidate that could threaten Joe Biden's reelection. Take a look at this poll showing the willingness of nearly half of American voters neither want to vote for a Republican nor a Democrat, or they're willing to vote for somebody else. That is a remarkable number, which...
And I'm happy to contribute to that number, and I hope to see that number rise up just to trigger the vote blue no matter who, people.
Means Joe Biden is in danger, but also if there's a third party candidate that's a conservative, the Republican nominee could be in danger because it seems like the American electorate is dissatisfied with all of their choices.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting, and I think the danger is a little bit more for Democrats for one reason. Just because Republicans for 12 years now have been going through this Tea Party movement, and then Donald Trump, who I would argue is a third-party candidate. I mean,
no, he's not. He's a Republican. What's wrong with you?
The first thing Donald Trump did when he came on the scene was he beat all the Republicans. And then once he did a hostile takeover of the Republican Party, he then went after Hillary Clinton and then took over that as well. The Democrats have managed to keep it together, to keep their corps together and not go through this. So their vote, and we see it with RFK Jr., their voters are dying for somebody different, an outsider, and they keep getting the same corpses like the president,
Joe Biden. That's who you're trying to think of.
Joe Biden. And it's not working. People don't like him. They don't want him, or they get a Kamala Harris. And so I think that there's they're trying to sort of keep this thing together as best they can, and that's why they went with Joe Biden in 2020. But I think the seams it's going to come apart at the seams for Democrats because they have not addressed this problem, which is they don't like the party, they don't like the establishment, and they want something different. And it's why, at the end of the day, if Republicans go with Donald Trump, I think Donald Trump wins.
I think you're right. And by the way, if Joe Biden won't debate, RFK has to threaten a third-party candidacy if he doesn't debate, and Joe Biden will show up on stage.
And we were showing Cornel West in that graphic, and both of those men, third party or not, are incredible speakers. And Cornel West, an incredible thinker, off the cuff, and 2/3 of voters think Joe Biden is too old for a second term, period, end of story.
She's not wrong. And hey, I'm as surprised as all of you. Fox News is making sense.
We've got to jump, Charlie.
And a Cornel West or an RFK Jr. would do more to eat into Trump voters than Biden ever would.
Again, they're not wrong with that statement either. RFK Jr. and Dr. Cornel West have more appeal. Americans want something better. Yes, Trump has popularity, but have him face off against Dr. Cornel West or RFK Jr. and he won't be facing off against Hillary or Biden. It won't be a similar 1-2 debate like we saw in the past. It will be something else, and Trump won't know what to do. It's something I'm confident enough to say. But again, if we remember back to 2016, the Democrats would rather lose to Trump than have somebody like Bernie Sanders win. But to be clear here about Bernie Sanders was a cuck and abandoned his movement. So, nonetheless, what can we take away from all of this? Corporate media is intensifying its attacks towards third parties. Corporate media is in a super fast rush to silence those that would think for themselves. And corporate media is taking the marching orders from the establishment in order to prevent you, the people, from thinking for yourselves. I encourage everyone that's watching this video to look at third parties, to consider that option for voting independent. The Democratic Party and Republican Party are owned by corporate interests. Do the brave step. Break away from it. Walk away from it. You don't owe the DNC or RNC a damn thing because both parties don't respect you.